Hello and welcome to day 3 of the 12 days of Christmas inspiration and giveaways with Uniko. I'm so glad that you've popped by today to watch this video as we are just coming to the end of our introductions for our October release. Today's introduction is a new stamp set in the framed series. If you know our stamps, we have a collection that contains a frame filled with lovely pattern, and then it has some accent stamps as well that come with it. There's framed balloons, framed floral vines, and there is framed trying to think of my next one, holly. Yeah, sorry, trying to think there. So this is the stamp set that we're introducing on the blog today as well, if you want to pop to the previous post to look at some more inspiration. So I've gone ahead and made one of the cards, and we're going to make a version of this today. So I've stamped the frame and then embossed it with Stardust embossing powder, which is one of my favourites. It's so lovely and sparkly. And as you can see, I've stepped outside the frame and inside, as I'll show you, to not use it as an actual framed image. I've just used it as a partial piece of pattern to put on the top of this card. I've accented it with one of the snowflakes that come as an individual stamp, which is this one just here. That is a separate stamp. And the Let It Snow sentiment from Simply Said Blocks Christmas. So I will just set this card aside. I've gone ahead and stamped and embossed my framed image, so that's what the frame looks like. I did it with Nectarine ink, the Versifying Clair Nectarine, and then just simply sprinkled the embossing powder on and then heat set it. I used my Misty. I'll just show you. I've got it here in my Misty. I did use my Misty to stamp. The image is quite detailed, so sometimes you just want to repeat stamps, so that's what I did. So to make an infill, obviously you've got this section here in the frame that obviously a sentiment would fit inside lovely, and that my cards on my previous post show this. But I wanted to show how you could use the smaller stamps that come in the set. There's 4 other snowflakes. So there's this large one, which is this design, a smaller version of the same snowflake, and then 2 other snowflakes as well, which are featured in the framed image. So what I wanted to show was how you could use these smaller stamps to fill in the frame basically and fill in the image. I have used a couple of other stamps as well when I did it. There's this little trio of dots which is from Floral Vines, and another little trio of dots which is from Rustic Christmas Wreath. I feature these dots and things quite a lot within my stamp sets because I like to use them to infill and accent sentiments and flowers and all sorts, so they come in really handy. So what I did was, first of all, I'm using my anti-static powder just to go over this because I did it a while and obviously I've been touching the cardstock. And this just makes sure that there's no grease or anything that the embossing powder is going to stick to. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start off with my larger of the snowflakes just to fill in part of that main frame, gap in that frame. and I'm going to stamp it around about here. Obviously it might not come out perfect, the gaps are going to be slightly different from the actual designed image. So I've gone ahead and done that one, and then I'm going to use these smaller snowflakes just to fill in the gaps. Don't want to get my head into view because I usually look right over where I'm stamping. So fill it in there, and then I'm going to go ahead and do this other one up here, and I might be able to squeeze another one of these ones in just here. And then before I sprinkle any embossing powder on, I'm going to use the dots to fill in some of the gaps. I'm going to start with the larger of the trio of dots, which is from the Floral Vines. Obviously there is a version already in this pattern of snowflakes, so it doesn't stand out too much. And when I actually looked at my stamped panel and I've put it on the angle, it was a little bit harder to see where I'd added this extra pattern. And it just makes another use of the framed image by filling it in and doing something else with it. We all like a bit of versatility to our stamps and products. So I've done that one. Now I'm going to just go in and fill in with the smaller one. And I'm just going to quickly stamp these, obviously just fill in some of the gaps. And as I say, you might not actually even use this section of the frame, but it just saves you going back and adding to it after you've put it on your card. So I've done the stamping. Now the Nectarine ink does dry fairly quick, but I have noticed that it stays wet long enough. So this is an old Stampendous embossing powder, and like most embossing powders, it lasts for years, but I did have a couple of tubs of this, luckily. It's just got a lovely sparkle to it. So yeah, the Nectarine does stay dry long enough to add embossing powder. In the past I used to use the VersaFine Oinks Black ink to emboss with, because that stays wet a lot longer. But this one does stay wet, but it is slightly quicker drying than the other VersaFine, which is the one I'm talking about, is that one, the Oinks Black. Anyway, so I've got my heat tool. Apologies for the noise. I'm just going to give it a quick blast just to heat set it and really bring out that sparkle. Go from the back a little bit. It helps de-warp your card a little bit. And that's the infill there. So you can notice it, but it's not so noticeable that it's going to stand out too much. So then obviously on this card here, I've coloured with Copic markers. I used B49 for inside the snowflake, and then I used BG23 to colour the background. And then for the single snowflake I used V15, And a little trick that I hadn't really thought of, and I don't think I've done it before, which someone who attended our make and take at Craftorama on Lincoln on Sunday, was that they coloured the inside of the Simply Said blocks, which I thought was a fabulous idea, and I've remembered to do it today. Just to tie in the colours, I decided to add the purple. So for this card, I'm not going to do a huge amount of colouring. One, because I don't really want to bore you too much, because it did take quite a while. I'm just going to go in and add a little bit of colour, and then I'm going to add it to a coloured card base. So I'm going to use the purple for this one this time, just to be a little bit different. I love purples, light blues, aquas and turquoises for snowflakes. Obviously your silvers and all your sparkle, as I just think it emulates, if that's the right word, the frostiness, the cold crispness of snowflakes. I do love my pinks as well, I have to say. I do use pink quite a little bit, so I'm just going ahead and colouring it inside. You could use anything for this. You don't necessarily have to use Copic markers or alcohol markers. You could use pencils. Watercolours would be lovely as well. I just reach for a colour that stands out to me, to be honest. I don't have a huge range of Copic markers. I have some that are close in families that you can blend well together. I don't have a lot of patience when it comes to colouring, if you know me. I do like quick, clean and simple, but I do love colour, so I do love trying to colour. Sometimes the mood takes me better than others and I will spend longer colouring something. So this one I'm just almost done. I could probably stop there, to be honest, but it's always good to have some leftover bits. I've got that's a bit left over from my first card, so I'm sure that will come in useful. I have a box, I don't know, you probably like me having a box of bits that you'll go back to use for another project. The box seems to get bigger and bigger and overspill into other boxes, and you know, the list goes on. But sometimes I do go back to it and reuse bits that I've saved, or I'll be looking for something in particular thinking I've done it before, and I usually have. So I'm almost done here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fussy cut this frame out, which is super easy. You could use a trimmer to do it if you really wanted to be quick and precise, but I'm not as quick or precise with my paper trimmer than I am with a pair of nice sharp scissors. So hopefully you've been able to catch up on day 1 and day 2 of the 12 days of Christmas. Obviously if you're watching this in YouTube, they are the previous 2 videos. There's still time to watch, find out what the giveaway is and how to enter. If you there's no actual hint on the blogs or social media as to what the giveaway is or what the prize is or how to enter. So if you followed on from there, you haven't missed anything. So I use these Stampin' Up snips. I've had various pairs over the years, but I always keep a pair that have the guard on, that I use just for cutting paper and card. I use the Stampin' Up Thin Whisper White here for all my stamping. it really made my heart happy when they brought out the thick to match for card bases. I make all my own card bases as well. So these snips go through lovely with this card. And I'm just leaving a slight border as I cut out. You could cut up right to the edge, it's totally up to your personal preference. I do like to leave a little of a border when I cut. And I'm almost done here. So this is a new stamp. It comes out tomorrow. It'll be on the website at 9 p.m. so don't get confused. Usually I release products at 9 a.m. but tomorrow I am doing it at 9 p.m. hopefully to give some of the international peeps chance to be around to order. So this piece of card that I've just got here, it's Concord and 9th Oceanside. So I'm going to use a coloured card base this time and apply it my panel on here like this, and then accent it the same way. So yes, this is a new stamp that's coming out tomorrow at 9 p.m. Along with the other three that I have introduced this week. Tomorrow at 9 a.m. we have our usual brand ambassador blog hop and giveaway. So if you've got a chance, you can pop by, have a look at the inspiration that the team have come up with, and join in another giveaway. So as this is a new stamp and we have a new release, I've got actually one spare to give away. One of these framed snowflakes, and I might throw in a couple of other bits as well in the prize, but you will definitely win this new stamp. So I'm just using double-sided tape here, and as usual, the best way to get your name in the chance of winning is to leave a comment here on this YouTube video, and you can also leave a comment on any of the social medias where I share this card and video link. I am keeping track of names and people that have subscribed to my channel. Thank you very much. And obviously the more the merrier, so I would love it if you could share about my YouTube channel with your crafty friends. So tag me if you share it on Instagram or Facebook that you have shared about my YouTube channel, and you will get another little entry into the giveaway. So it's nothing too hard or taxing to be able to be in the chance of winning. So here I'm just placing it on the angle. I got a bit carried away with my double-sided tape and went on bits that I didn't necessarily need to go on. And then I'm actually going to use these scissors because I've used sticky in more than one place. And I never like to get sticky on my good stamps. Yep, so to win this stamp set, just simply leave a comment on this video and share the love. Tell people about it, and tag me. Either you can, if you're friends with me, tag Beverly Brown. If not, tag Uniko Lid Limited Ltd, and I should be able to see any tags. As I said, I think at the beginning, if you haven't had a chance to watch the other videos that enter the giveaway, please go back and have a look, as there is still time to enter. I am not announcing any of the winners of the giveaways until the week after the 12 days of Christmas inspiration and giveaways ends, which it ends on Friday the 8th of December, so you've got plenty of time. So there, I've just trimmed my panel so it fits. I went ahead and stamped my sentiment, but I didn't go ahead and stamp my snowflake, which I'll do in a minute because I think I might do it a little bit different. So I'm just going to trim right to the edge this time, and I'm going to leave it white as well. So again, these are fairly easy because they are just straight lines to stamp and cut out. So sorry, I'm getting muddled up with my words today. My brain's in overdrive. So yeah, it's fairly easy to cut out these sentiment blocks. So I've gone ahead and done that, and then I am going to stick to the same sort of layout as well. So I'm going to stick it here, but I want to stamp my snowflake. Now, I love this snowflake. I am biased. I really love this snowflake, but I think it'll work beautifully if you have seen our stunning snowflake sets. This one was brought out probably 2012, I would have thought, around then. I think it is that old. If not, it's probably 2013. We started in 2012, and it was about time we added another snowflake to the lineup, and I think this one fits in lovely with the sentiment font, and also obviously as I've designed them, they all work together. So combining these two sets would be beautiful. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to clean the black ink, off my stamp that I used before. I always have my stamp chamois next to me, because this time I'm going to stamp it in using my Misty, because I'm going to stamp it in Oceanside, but I do want the sparkle. So to be able to get the sparkle on using an ink that isn't a pigment ink to emboss with, you're gonna need to double stamp it. So I'm gonna just place my card in here, use my magnets, and I've got my snowflake. So you're gonna go ahead, I'm just gonna, where's my little anti-static, just do this. So then you're gonna ink up first. Hopefully you can see this, that it's in frame. My video setup isn't super great, but it's something I'm working on, so I can't actually see what you see at the minute. So I've just inked the stamp with Oceanside, which is a Concord and 9th ink, and then I'm just going to clean that off, and then I am going to use Versamark ink, which is just this one, which is your watermark type clear ink, and I'm just inking up my stamp nice and good with that. I might actually double stamp it just to make sure, just so we've got enough juice on there for the embossing powder to stick to. And do it again. So that is how you add embossing ink to a coloured ink. And I'm just going to use the Stardust embossing powder again, just to keep it in with the same type of sparkle. Give it a good smattering of the powder. Put the lid on so I don't spill any, because it's precious stuff. And then we're just going to heat set it. And then I'm going to fussy cut it out, because I don't have any dies to match these at the minute. One day I will add more dies to the mix. for a small business, they are quite an investment. But I'm slowly adding more and more as I progress. So there we go. So people are always asking about my fussy cutting. How do I do it? How do I get it looking so neat? Well, it might go wrong here on video. But the best way I find, because I always leave a little bit of a white border, but you want to cut off as much excess card as you can. Obviously this bit doesn't have to be neat or tidy. And then a tip and a trick that I learned is that you hold your card in place, and it's your scissors that you're moving, and then you turn your card slightly, but it's a trick and a tip. I suppose it's something that's just come with lots of practice, really. I find fussy cutting really quite therapeutic. Some days it comes out better than others, but it is just practice. If you have a digital cutter, there are ways of importing the stamped images that you can cut out, and there is the scan and cut as well that I know some people use, and the silhouette, the cricut. So there's various ways, but when it's a little image like this, it's not too bad. So I'm sort of a mix of both, pressing down on my scissors so it cuts through, and then turning the cardstock. But yeah, it is just lots and lots of practice of fussy cutting. So I'm nearly done here. I know someone asked how I did it so neatly with the card I shared on Monday, I think it was. It's with our new big and bold. But yeah, I just use the same sort of principle, just lightly. It's just about taking time and being patient when it comes to cutting. Obviously you need good light, and a good pair of sharp scissors as well really helps. As I say, I don't use these for anything else other than card, paper, and probably the thickest card I go with is the Stampin' Up! Thick, really. That's about as thick. I think that's, is it 300 GSM in thickness. So when I'm not using my scissors, I always put this guard back on. And then people that share the office with me know not to use these scissors. He's not in here at the minute. So pull this back in, get rid of me scraps. And I'm gonna just use some foam adhesive to stick these on. I'm going to go ahead and put the sentiment on first. Now this is another thing that I think people are always made. I always use the little squares. I don't use the big tape, even if it's a sort of big panel. I don't really put a huge amount of foam adhesive on. Just about 4 squares will do it. Sometimes my nails are long enough to get the backs off. And this is just the 1mm thick, so it makes it male friendly, considering the prices have gone up again. And I'm just going to line it up and overhang it slightly, and then do the same for my sentiment. Anyway, I hope you're enjoying these videos. It's definitely making me do more once a week and share an inspiration. If you have any suggestions as to what you would like to see, a particular Uniko stamp set, obviously festive themed, if there's one that you'd like me to show in a video making something, just drop it in the comments. I would absolutely love to know. I'm always open to suggestions when it comes to what to bring you and what to inspire you with. Obviously, I think I said in my last video I was going to do a mid-century modern. So that is still on the list because we've had our last release was the mid-century modern Christmas range. So I haven't forgotten that. Just with it being a new release this week, I thought it would be nice to showcase this new framed snowflake set. So mid-century modern is on the list, but if there is anything else, just drop it in the comments, either here on YouTube or on social media, as to what you would like to see, and I'll be happy to use it in a video. So I've just added some Nouveau drops. These are the crystal drops in gloss Simply White, which I've added to the snowflake there, and just a couple to highlight the frame, the sentiment, sorry. So there are my cards together, and that is sort of stepping outside and inside the frame just to give it a little bit more of a different look. As I say, I hope you've enjoyed this video and these videos so far in our little Christmas countdown. I'm hoping it's inspiring you to get on and make your Christmas cards. It's certainly helping me. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next week. Bye for now.